Thanks for checking out this video. You could be listening to any idiot on the internet with a mic in front of them, but you chose to listen to us, and we appreciate that.
We're sending you a virtual hug. If you have any trade questions or start-sit questions, leave a comment. Justin or myself will definitely respond, or maybe even both of us will respond.
If you like the video, drop us a like, comment, sub. You know the drill.
Welcome to A Tribe Called Fantasy with your hosts, Greg and Justin.
Check the description for players that just didn't make the list this week, and leave us a comment if we forgot anyone on the list. At 45, we have T.Y. Hilton. There just aren't many pass catchers of value on that Colts team, but T.Y. Hilton is probably the best option you could do. They're taking on the Browns, so they might be playing catch-up. How many games has he had over 87 yards since Andrew Luck retired, Justin?
We're going to say approximately 0. And I know the answer to that question, and it is 0. So if you are a T.Y. Hilton owner, you are scared. Phillip Rivers just hates throwing to wide receivers, and I have no idea why. Next up at number 44, another disappointing player, in A.J. Green, coming off a 5-target game with 1 catch for 3 yards. Be very nervous, especially this week against a tough Ravens defense. What's up with this, man? What do you think the issue is here?
A.J. Green's washed. A.J. Green's a has-been.
You think so?
That's what I think. His injuries are just catching up to him.
He sees heavy coverage every game, but there's no excuse for this.
At 43, we have T. Higgins. As A.J. Green falls, T. Higgins rises. He's been seeing a steady target share in that offense. Last game he had 7 targets. They're taking on the Ravens. We should see A.J. Green kind of taking on majority of the cover, even Tyler Boyd, which should lead to T. Higgins having some opportunities to make some baller moves.
Yeah, definitely a good rookie this year. They actually have been healthy scratching John Ross in favor of T. Higgins, so he's definitely found a role on that offense. Next up, at number 42, we have Laviska Shenault Jr. Not a sexy name. Jaguars are definitely not a sexy team, but this guy gets targets. He looks explosive. 5 catches for 86 yards on 6 targets last week. Still involved in the run game a little bit, and he's playing the Texans this week. How you feeling, Greg? Would you start Laviska?
I definitely wouldn't feel great about starting Laviska, but he is kind of a gadget player, and he has definitely brought some life to that offense, so I think he has a lot of promise.
Couldn't agree more.
At 41, we have Tim Patrick. You might actually be a little bit more adept to talk about Tim Patrick than myself.
Yeah, so he came off a big game with Brett Rippon. 6 catches, 113 yards, and 1 touchdown, 7 targets. He's playing the Patriots this week. He just looks like the go-to wide receiver, honestly. Jerry Jeudy is obviously a better player, a bigger talent, but this guy's got a big body like Rick Ross. He's got pretty good hands, and he's always open in the flat for some reason. Coming in at 40, we got the boy, one of our favorite players, but maybe not our favorite fantasy player.
True.
Jarvis Landry.
So sad.
Coming off a week 4 performance with 5 catches and 48 yards on 6 targets, threw an absolute dime to Odell Beckham. Not something you're going to expect, but still pleasant to see.
Best quarterback on the team.
Probably, I don't know. Odell's got him.
Yeah, I guess
got
Odell
a run
is
for
pretty
his
good
money.
too.
They're going up against the Colts, which I thought was fool's gold that their defense was good, but turns out I'm right. Nope, I'm not. See, my ego's too big these days. Turns out I'm wrong.
At 39, we have Cole Beasley. We really like Cole Beasley just for the floor he provides, especially since John Brown has been kind of dealing with his injuries. Last week he got a touchdown, did see less targets, but I think Cole Beasley is a safe flex play from here moving forward, even if John Ross is on the field.
Yeah, I agree. The Titans matchup isn't one that is as daunting as it used to be. Coming up next, though, we got number 38, the white boy with no hair, looking like Alex Caruso out here, Hunter Renfrow. Week 4, 5 catches, 57 yards, 8 targets, had 9 targets in week 3. They're playing the Chiefs this week, so they're going to have to play from behind. He'll probably have a pretty decent floor. I wouldn't bank on a touchdown, though.
At 37, we have Michael Gallup. They're taking on the Giants. They should kind of smoke their asses. CeeDee Lamb really looks like he kind of took on that wide receiver 2 role. But with a pass-heavy offense, we could kind of see Michael Gallup and CeeDee Lamb kind of going back and forth on any given week. But we definitely like the upside of CeeDee Lamb a little more just because of the talent he provides. So that's why we have Michael Gallup at 37.
And at 36, we have Corey Davis coming off his COVID bye week. Next up is the Bills. It's a pretty tough matchup, but he should see some solid production. It's going to go down a little bit, though, because A.J. Brown is supposed to return from his bone bruise in his knee, but still a good flex play if you have maybe a bye week or two from the Packers and or Lions.
Last year, too, with A.J. Brown in the offense, we did see Corey Davis step up and have a better role in that offense as a wide receiver 2 instead of being that wide receiver 1.
Yeah, maybe the offense just becomes more explosive, more time of possession, more opportunities. It's always possible.
I definitely think A.J. Brown helps his value. At 35, we have Emmanuel Sanders. Michael Thomas should be coming back, which should help Emmanuel Sanders kind of play more of a complementary role instead of a lead wide receiver role. And taking on the Chargers, hopefully he'll at least find the end zone.
Yeah, 9 targets this week. That's pretty big. Hopefully Emmanuel Sanders and Drew Brees are starting to find a rhythm. Only time will tell, though. Coming up next, at number 34, I get to read all the little white boys today.
Damn, you really do. I'm so jealous.
Scotty Miller, coming off a pretty good game, honestly. 5 catches, 83 yards, a touchdown on 7 targets. Believe it or not, second on the team in targets. And with Godwin out, I think he's a pretty solid play against the Bears this week.
At 33, we have Jerry Jeudy taking on the Patriots. It's not looking like a great matchup, especially since the Patriots, I don't even know if they'll let this Broncos team get in the end zone. Definitely has the talent to produce, but will be limited by quarterback play.
He's so nice. The Patriots are going to want to run the ball after this tragic QB performance they had this Monday night. But
he also had a really special catch last Thursday night where he mossed that one dude.
Dude, he did. Really
disgusting.
Should have been a pick. Brett Rippon underthrew the ball, and he just went up and got it. It definitely bounced off the cornerback's helmet, so I wouldn't say it was a moss. I was kind of put off by that when the commentator said that.
I was just hyped.
I was like,
oh, somebody got mossed.
It was pretty sick.
Because I definitely wasn't paying attention to the game.
It was pretty sick, but he did not get mossed. Like, it bounced off his helmet. It hit the dude right in the fucking forehead. I didn't feel great about it. But next up, we have DJ Moore of the Carolina Panthers going up against the trash Atlanta Falcons. And I can say that because we are Atlanta natives.
Not Falcons fans, though.
Not Falcons fans.
Make sure to add that in.
He's had one good week so far. That was week 2 with 13 targets. The week 3, he had 4 targets. This week, he had 6. It's just tough because Robbie Anderson is really the emerging wide receiver there. Teddy Bridgewater loves to throw it to him. So you probably, I wouldn't say wasted your pick because you probably had to get him pretty high, but your team's probably hurting because you have him. Hopefully he can bounce back.
At 31, we have Sammy Watkins getting a steady flow of target shares, but right when you feel like you can trust Sammy Watkins, he loves to pull the rug out from under you. So definitely a risk-reward play. They're taking on the Raiders, so it's definitely a desirable matchup. The Raiders are just getting obliterated on defense. So as long as Sammy Watkins is on the field, he might be worth taking a shot on.
At number 30, we have Marquise Brown, a.k.a. Hollywood. Oh, great.
Bro, you saw me turn the sound down.
You had one
you?
job, dog.
You saw me turn that sound down.
Nah, I'm not even editing that out.
I don't think you should.
Week 4, 4 catches, 86 yards for Mr. Hollywood on 8 targets. Pretty big bounce back game after a piss poor performance against the Chiefs. Next up, they got the Bengals. I'm expecting the Ravens to have more explosive plays. Lamar's probably going to hang 50 on them. Definitely upward trending direction for Hollywood Brown after a sad week 3.
At 29, we have CeeDee Lamb taking on the New York Giants. He has just seen a steady flow of targets and just proven to be a safe play week in and week out, despite kind of going back and forth with Michael Gallup. We just like the upside and the talent of CeeDee Lamb a little bit more.
How do you feel about this matchup in particular as a CeeDee Lamb owner? because they're probably going to be just beating the piss out of the Giants. Do you think they might end up feeding Zeke and he sees a little bit less target share?
I could definitely see it, but I don't have any other options. I don't have any better options, I would say. So I'm going to stick with CeeDee Lamb. I think that the Cowboys are just going to want to keep throwing if they can. That's just kind of I guess they haven't really seen success with that. I don't know. It definitely makes me nervous, but I still like CeeDee Lamb this week. He's just been a safe play this whole year.
Yeah, the Cowboys just haven't seen success.
Yeah.
Coming up next at number 28, we have Mr. John Brown, the most generic name in the game. Week 4 catches, 42 yards on 5 targets. It's good to see him back. They definitely jugged him with that touchdown. He caught that shit. It was over the line. Talking about he didn't control the ball till he was falling at the 0.2-inch line. Absolutely ridiculous. This guy's a monster, though. Pretty good matchup against the Titans. Like we were saying earlier, the defense is a shadow of itself. And Malcolm Butler can't stop anybody. So even if he's on John Brown's going to eat.
At number 27, we have Will Fuller taking on the Jags. If he is on the field, he is a talented player and he can do some disgusting things. I think the biggest question mark is, what will this team look like with Bill O'Brien gone? Do you think that this impacts Will Fuller's value positively or negatively?
It's really tough to say. So they actually fired Bill O'Brien, and he decided last game that he was going to take over play calling duties halfway through the game. So technically it's going to be a very similar situation, but firing Bill O'Brien could just raise morale, get them dogs back together, make the people want to play for each other. And overall, I just want to say I'm just happy for Will Fuller to get this steady consistency. None of this feast or famine shit you're used to. If you have Will Fuller this year, you're feasting.
Nice.
No famine. We ain't in Ireland.
Unless he gets hurt, which will probably happen.
Hey, yeah, expect for a couple injury weeks. That's okay. Real pessimist you are, you know?
I'm just, looking at facts.
Yeah, it's okay. Coming in at 26, a fellow Justin, and on my team from the waiver wires, Justin Jefferson. Honestly, a pretty big surprise. I didn't expect him to even perform this well with 4 catches, 103 yards, and 5 targets coming off his monster week 3. He's looking like the real deal, though. Kirk's throwing balls his way. They're 50-50s. He's snagging them coming down, flexing on people. To be expected, though, from the college stud at LSU. And they have a juicy matchup against the Seahawks this week.
At 25, we have Robert Woods, who you can just count on him week in and week out. There is going to be, some weeks where Cooper Kupp feasts and other weeks where Robert Woods feasts. But Robert Woods is a talented player and just proven to be a steady piece in that offense. They're taking on the Washington football team, so there shouldn't really be a huge competition for Robert Woods on the defensive side.
Yeah, the Washington no-names are looking real rough. I'm thinking this is more of a 1A, 1B situation. I don't think he's the wide receiver 2 necessarily, but Cooper Kupp is definitely taking the lead. But coming up next, we have number 24, Mr. Tyler Boyd, the Bengals receiver you actually want. Coming off a pretty good game, once again, 7 catches for 90 yards on 8 targets. Have a tough matchup this week against the Ravens. The Ravens did show that they can allow players to feast, though. Terry McLaurin just dropped, I think he had 100-plus yards, I think double-digit catches. So Tyler Boyd could have another big game, especially if the defense decides to lock up A.J. Green like they have every other week.
At 23, we have Diontae Johnson, who should be back after suffering a concussion in week 3, had that rest in week 4 with the COVID bye week. They're taking on the Eagles. Diontae Johnson should see some lighter coverage since Darius Slayton will be on JuJu, and he just is kind of a nice complementary piece to JuJu, maybe even more talented, some would say. And Big Ben at your quarterback, you're going to see success at the wide receiver position.
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to have another double-digit target game. And coming up next, we got Mr. A.J. Brown at the 22 spot. So week 1, he got hurt, but he still had 6 targets before he did. They're playing the Bills this week, and Ryan Tannehill is really missing him. This is definitely going to make that offense more explosive. Jonnu Smith has stepped up. Corey Davis has stepped up. Adam Humphries has stepped up. But now, with the number one wide receiver there, the offense is just going to look to get on a roll again. More time of possessions means more points. A.J. Brown looking good.
At 21, we have Robbie Anderson. Some may say Robbie Anderson. I would disagree. It's spelled like Robbie. The Panthers are taking on the Falcons. I think the Falcons are going to come back with a vengeance and just take advantage of this poor Panthers defense. So Teddy Bridgewater is just going to have to throw them back into the game, and Robbie has proven to be his favorite target at the wide receiver spot.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know if I agree with the Falcons being on a tear against this poor defense, which is poor. It's kind of a battle.
You don't
of,
think it's going to happen?
Hey, man, which piece of shit looks better? You know what I mean?
Shiniest of two turd situation.
Exactly. Matt Ryan is absolute garbage, so I just don't expect much from him. But
we are certified Matt Ryan haters.
Absolutely, yeah. So if you came here for some Matt Ryan love, you're in the wrong place, homie.
Unsubscribe. Don't unsubscribe.
Yeah, but either way, I think Robbie Anderson is easily going to have another good game. Like every single game, it's just mind-blowing. I never thought Robbie Anderson was this good. I guess that's what happens when you're on the Jets for that long. But 2 games with double-digit targets, 8 targets and 6 targets in the other game. He's the surprise of the year, honestly, for me at wide receiver.
I would agree.
Coming in at 20, we got Terry McLaurin. So I was correct. In week 4, he did have 10 catches for 118 yards on 14 targets against the Ravens. Last week I was pretty down on him because I thought, hey, Washington sucks. Ravens defense is good, but this guy's matchup proof at this point. They're taking on the Rams. Jalen Ramsey's there. So it's obviously going to be tough, but I mean, he just went up against Marcus Peters and put in work.
And he's been doing it week in and week out as well.
And the no-names are going to have to throw.
100%. At number 19, we have OBJ. I would say this was the most divisive player on our list. I was high on this player. You were low on this player. They're definitely taking on a tough Colts defense, which did prove to end up being a really solid defense. We were a bit skeptical because of the weak matchups they had. But OBJ is coming off of a phenomenal week 4 where he had 5 catches for 81 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 carries for 73 yards and a touchdown, and had a spectacular play that really won the Browns that game. I really just think that, the talent is there with OBJ. The opportunities have come in doses. But I think anytime he has the potential to get his hands on the ball, he's going to do something special.
Yeah, we definitely had a little bit of a disagreement about OBJ, but it definitely wasn't because I thought he was not talented or because I thought he's not a good wide receiver. He's one of the best in the league. My main concern is that the Browns want to run the ball. They have Kareem Hunt for that reason. Well, they had a two-headed monster back there, but even still, with Nick Chubb out, they still want to run it. They're giving it to Darius Johnson, and they're giving it to their third-string running back, all this stuff, and they wouldn't have even had to throw and do all that crazy stuff if the defense wasn't so bad and let up 500 yards passing. But you're right, though. He's a monster, absolute gem in the league. Coming up next at number 18, we have JuJu Smith-Schuster. You're probably wondering why he's so low, but they are taking on the Eagles. And now you're asking yourself again, yes, I know, why so low? The answer, Darius Slay. The defense of the Eagles is almost predominantly man-to-man matchups. Darius Slay can travel, and he's going to see a lot of JuJu Smith-Schuster. So it's tough to say that he's going to have a bad game, but I would have a conservative hope this week. I wouldn't necessarily bank on him dropping you 30.
At number 17, we have Jamison Crowder. We're not stupid, you're stupid. If you are mad at us for having Jamison Crowder this high on the list, maybe you just need to do your homework, or maybe I'm just being defensive for no reason. Maybe you do know your Jamison Crowder. There's just no one else on that team to catch passes. There's no Le'Veon Bell. Who's going to catch passes? Frank Gore from his wheelchair? I don't think so. Jamison Crowder is a solid wide receiver. He's had double-digit targets in both of the weeks he's had. He did have his injuries, but they're going to be playing behind from the Cardinals. They're going to be playing behind from no matter who they're playing. So we really like Jamison Crowder's value.
I love Jamison Crowder. But back to the list, we have at number 16, Mr. DK Metcalf, the most consistent player with 4 catches in every single week and big plays in every single week.
Oh, my God.
Just noticed that. He also has 8 targets in week 1 and 3 and 6 targets in week 2 and 4. So my brain is fried with these numbers right now. They're playing the Vikings, though. It's going to be another big game. And you know he's going to catch a deep pass, probably for a touchdown. He could have had 2 touchdowns that one game if he didn't pull the Deshaun Jackson and just ease up at the 1. Absolutely ridiculous, but stud player.
At number 15, we have Julian Edelman. I'd say another player of contention on our list, me being low, you being a bit high. Definitely handicapped by poor quarterback play on that team. So hopefully Cam Newton shows up. But if Cam Newton's in that quarterback role, Julian Edelman is just going to have value week in and week out. Any quarterback in that role is going to want to look Julian Edelman's way. But you have Julian Edelman on your team. Are you concerned about him without Cam?
I'm definitely concerned. I'm gonna give it one more week before I pull the red flag and I start panicking. They're playing the Broncos this week, which had a lot to do with the matchup or the ranking, excuse me. Yeah, he definitely had a pretty bad drop in Monday night. Hit him right in the hands, got picked off right after. Stidham looked pretty good though, so I can only imagine they're probably gonna go with him instead of Brian Hoyer throwing dimes to defenders.
Retire.
I'll eat my words though if he ends up sucking. At number 14, we got my boy DJ Chark looking like a ballerina out there this week. Week 4, 8 catches, 95 yards, 2 touchdowns on 9 targets. They're playing the Texans this week. Man, it was great to see this guy have a breakout game. The Jags offense absolutely needs him, and he's just a stud, honestly. He would be a household name if he was on a team other than the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Or if he was a real DJ.
Oh, you never know. Maybe his songs aren't that good.
Yeah.
Did you see his touchdown catch?
No, I didn't.
It was beautiful.
I didn't play him on one of my leagues. I ended up winning still, but I almost lost.
Man, he had a great game for me. Back left corner of the end zone. Toe drag swag for sure. Gardner threw a dime, dropped it in the bucket, and he was just like leaning out of the back of the end zone. It was some great feet work. Antonio Brown would be proud.
Hey, and aren't we all just looking for approval from AB?
I know I am.
Me too. At number 13, we have Stefon Diggs. Just that absolute monster on the Buffalo Bills. 6 for 115 yards last week with 7 targets. Taking on the Titans. The Bills are just on an offensive tear with Josh Allen playing like an MVP. I got nothing else to say about Stefon Diggs.
Man, it's honestly surprising. I thought he would have a big – I didn't think he would have as good of a year as he's having now that he went to the Bills. I thought with Kirk Cousins, that's probably going to be it. Kirk loves to sling the rock, but I've been proved wrong once again.
Hey, us Josh Allen truthers saw it coming from a long mile away.
Definitely was not a Josh Allen truther, but my mind has been changed. Coming in at number 12, we got the boy, Davante Parker, with the beard thrown to him. Coming off a nasty game, 10 catches, 110 yards on 12 targets. Going up against a banged-up 49ers defense. Overall, just a good matchup. And, man, Fitzpatrick just – if he's not running his face into a linebacker, then he's throwing to Davante Parker. It is wild. And Davante Parker is coming down with it. He's just he's coming off an injury. He was still playing, but he was definitely hobbled. But he looks pretty healthy this weekend, and I think the more weeks he has, the healthier he gets. He's just going to keep producing bigger and bigger every week.
At number 11, we have Cooper Kupp, that 1A, 1B on the Rams. They're taking on the Washington football team. Last week had 5 catches for 69 yards, nice, and a touchdown on 7 targets. Definitely Jared Goff's favorite target. So if we had to pick one Rams wide receiver to find the end zone, we're leaning towards Cooper Kupp.
Absolutely. At number 10, we have Tyler Lockett coming off a very disappointing week 4 with 2 catches for 39 yards and 4 targets, excuse me. This is right after a 3-touchdown game. They're playing against the Vikings this week. He's kind of looking like I don't want to put this out there and into the world, into the realm.
Sounds like you're about to.
It sounds like, with all due respect.
Yeah, with all due respect.
Boom or bust. That was a label that Tyler Lockett had a lot in previous years.
That is true.
The first 3 weeks, it looked like he had shaken that off. But week 4 has now implanted that in my mind once again, and I'm a little nervous. But I'm gonna trust that this year, 2020, COVID season, Tyler Lockett is not a boom or bust player, and he just had one bad week. And next week, he's going to return with guns blazing.
You have my vote of confidence on that. At number, if it means anything.
Not a single thing, but I'm sure someone out there will appreciate that.
Nice. At number 9, we have Tyreek Hill. Chiefs are taking on the Raiders. Tyreek Hill should just torch this team. The Chiefs are just going to tear the Raiders apart. Tyreek Hill is going to have a phenomenal week.
Yeah, man. How's that feel as a Raiders fan?
It sucks. I know the Raiders are going to lose.
Yeah. All right, coming up next at number 8, we have Adam Thielen. 8 catches, 114 yards, 1 touchdown, 10 targets. Going up against the Seahawks. Good matchup for him this week. Look for him to continue this run, and hopefully Justin Jefferson doesn't steal his touchdowns.
At number 7, we have Keenan Allen, who should see a heavy, not heavy per se, because I don't know how much higher in target share you can get than 19 targets and 12 targets in the past 2 weeks, respectively. They're taking on the Saints, so they should be having to throw the football a bit. As long as Justin Herbert is the quarterback, I think you can expect double digits from Keenan Allen in this matchup, especially with Austin Eckler sidelined for the next couple of weeks.
At number 6, we have Allen Robinson coming off another good game with Nick Foles. 7 for 101 and a touchdown on 10 targets. They're playing the Bucs, so it's a pretty tough matchup, but Justin Herbert just torched them this week, and Nick Foles really doesn't have that many people to throw to.
At number 5, we have Calvin Ridley, despite the goose egg. Julio Jones is out, so Calvin Ridley's going to take on that wide receiver 1 role, and I think you can expect him to bounce back against a weak Panthers defense.
Hopefully Matt Ryan bounces back. But only time will tell if Matty Ice Cold can continue his streak of trash. At number 4, we have Mike Evans. Chris Godwin's going to be out, so expect another big week. Coming off a game, 7 for 122 on 8 targets. And they're going to be up against the Bears this week, which is not as tough as it used to be.
At number 3, we have Amari Cooper, who has been the best wide receiver in fantasy football. Double-digit targets in pretty much every single game. In week 2, only had 9 targets, but you can't be mad at that. They're taking on the Giants, so if anything hinders Amari Cooper's value, it's just that they run the clock out on them. But I don't see it happening. I don't see Amari Cooper having a bad week.
At number 2, we have Michael Thomas, and your team is probably not doing so hot if you have him. You need him back. They're looking to be optimistic for him to play this week, so fingers crossed, but they definitely need him in that offense. They looked like they were struggling at the beginning of that Lions game, and with Michael Thomas back, they can be one of the best teams in the NFC like they should be.
At number 1, we have DeAndre Hopkins. Once again, he's just a talented wide receiver, and he should absolutely feast against a garbage Jets defense. Thanks for checking out this video. If you have any issue with where we put any of these players or who we put on this list, go ahead and let us know in the comments. We can handle the heat, and we will not get out of the kitchen.
Bully us if you'd like. We're ready.
We can handle it. We're tough boys, but we are so desperate for approval. Hence the YouTube channel.